Dude,
Hangouts
everything with me talking about going potty and stuff is on the YouTube.
I know. I know. Uh, so now it's saying it's waiting for us to go live.
um, okay, cancel the stream.
But this is a different stream.
Kyle says they quit and use StreamYard because they said they didn't like Discord.
That's fine. I'm just. Do you have it set up?
I'm setting it up right now. Well, I'm setting up a profile.
The problem is I'm going to need it too. We could also just record it and then upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, but half the fun is having people.
I know. It's already almost 9 o'clock, so now I'm just trying to think of how to get.
Oh,
this
it is there, huh?
Yeah, sorry, it's later here for me. I'm just not sure. It says we're live, but we're not live. Or we're live somewhere, but not.
Not where we want.
I like the idea you just mentioned, Max. Let's cancel the live stream. Let's record it, and then upload it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because it's not working the way I was intending it to work. Like when I go to Couch Crunchers on YouTube, I don't see an option to watch what I'm looking at right now. When I go to Couch Crunchers now it's showing me as live. I don't see an option to watch what I'm looking at right now. Okay, we're live now. When I go to Couch Crunchers now it's showing me as live.
What?
We're live now. It's working.
People can see us?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a link up here. I'll send it to you guys on Facebook. Dang it. I had to log out of a bunch of stuff earlier today. Anyway, once we get this going, we'll just start over. Thanks for putting up with the technical difficulties today there, Sam.
It's fine. I was just using my bigger brain to eviscerate bobblehead filet mignon. Did you guys see that post I put on Facebook?
No, I didn't.
So it said, you seen the meme where it's a regular brain, then a big brain, then a bigger brain, then like a galaxy brain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my kids were like, oh, we love Beat Bobby Flay. Let's watch Beat Bobby Flay. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
The big brain calls it.
So we're live right now.
Yeah, we're live. It's working.
Defeat Robert Flaverton. But the bigger brain calls it overcome Roberto Flavinicus. But the biggest brain calls it eviscerate bobblehead filet mignon.
I'll have to look at the post. I feel like it's lost on me without the visual. I'm not smart enough.
There's no visual. I just wrote it down. I couldn't find the meme to post it.
Oh. Fair enough. All right. Okay, Larry says he can hear us, so let's just start this biddy.
Yay! Larry, can you hear my beautiful voice?
He says he can hear us. All right. Well, Breaker Crunchers, welcome to issue 63 of Couch Crunchers, where we had to start over 6 to 7 times tonight just to get it right. With me, I have got Lance, our series sergeant / listmaster.
Hi.
And Sam, our movie mechanic.
Still here.
Still here. All right. Well, let's
still here,
get right
still queer.
Into it. Let's get right into it. Tonight we're going to be talking about a few things. We didn't get to hear anyone else talk about the Kevin Conroy thoughts. So let's talk about Kevin Conroy really briefly. What do we think about him being cast as Batman or Bruce Wayne in the Crisis on Infinite Earth?
I just
All right, real
love
quick.
him.
Real quick, I'll sum up my previous comments. Kevin Conroy's voice is iconic. Batman the Animated Series was amazing. The Arkham games were amazing, and Kevin Conroy's voice was a big part of that. Physically, he doesn't really look like Batman, but his voice is Batman's voice. And so I'm really looking forward to see how they make Kevin Conroy into Bruce Wayne Batman.
I'm excited too. That for me for all the same reasons. Lance, the skinny sergeant. Lance is looking
skinny
so skinny.
sergeant?
Yeah, you're looking skinny, man. You're looking good.
Yeah, I mean, there's. What was I saying before? An hour ago when we were talking about this? There's nobody that's more.
You started talking about Mark
synonymous.
Hamill.
There's nobody that's more synonymous with the Batman role than probably Michael Keaton and Kevin Conroy. I mean, either one of them are beloved in the role. Christian Bale can't hold a candle to him, so I don't know. It's really hard to talk about this a second time.
Okay, well, you know what shouldn't be hard? Let's at least hear Sam's impression of Batman real quick, because that was too good.
All right, so here's my audition. In case Kevin Conroy can't make it to the shoot, here's my audition. Here we go. This town just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good.
Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We did it, guys. We did it. All right, let's move
Yay!
on. Let's move
Hey, we finished the bit!
Let's move on to topic number 2, which actually, you know what? We're just going to move on to topic number 3 just for the sake of time since we started so late. All right. Disney has announced a bundle where they're going to bundle ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus for $13 a month. Now, this isn't the ad-free version of Hulu. Unfortunately, it's the ad-full version of Hulu. But what do you guys think about this?
I think it's great. That means
So I was
that
talking.
I don't have to steal your Hulu anymore, Max.
Well, I was talking with some friends, and we thought it might be handy to come up with some kind of co-op arrangement where I purchase Netflix and share my password. They purchase Amazon Prime and share their password, and then a third party purchases the Disney Plus and shares their password. So now that the prices are all about the same, now we can make that work out.
That works.
So I've been stealing Max's Hulu on for the better part of what, 2 years?
Yeah, you
Max?
and my brother both. And my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law are on my Netflix, and no one's paying me for any of it.
Hey, you have
Yeah, you need to work out a co-op.
I know, right? And I got my brother and like 3 friends on my Vudu, so yeah, I need to start charging people.
Max and I have been sharing Vudu for like since it came out.
I know, and
right,
now
Max?
Ultraviolet's gone because like we weren't sharing; we like literally linked our accounts. But now
So
it's
we have.
gone.
You and I have how many movies in there? About 800 movies
Oh man, I don't know. Now I'm so curious. I have to go look.
between the two of us.
I thought it was. I
Yep.
thought it was only like 500.
But there's some
What
on
is
mine
the-
that aren't on yours.
What's the weirdest movie in your collection? Max, I want you to answer. What's the weirdest movie that Lance has put in your collection?
The Twilight series.
I couldn't tell you.
Team Edward. Lance is Team Edward.
No, man, I'm Team Jacob.
So it's 500.
Taylor Lautner all day.
Collection. Here, there's nothing private on here. I'm going to share my Discord screen and, or am I? No, Discord's not easy enough to use. I can't figure out how to share my screen.
All right, here's a real quick story time. I was sitting at Chicago O'Hare Airport getting ready to fly to Arizona one time, and there was this little, just like this 12-year-old black kid sitting next to me with a skateboard, and he's talking about skateboarding and, I love skateboarding at the parks. I can't really skateboard right now because it's snowing, but I'm really looking forward to going to Arizona and skateboarding at the parks because it's not snowing. Oh man, did you see Eclipse? I was like, what? Eclipse? Like Twilight Eclipse? He's like, yeah, that movie was the bomb. I was like, okay, man. Hey, you know what? That's fine. You can be all about Eclipse.
So you've got
Okay.
more movies than me, Lance. I only have 556.
I just bought this one, Rocket Man. Right there.
Oh, and I'll have to log into your account. I've been wanting to see that.
Rocket
It's
Man.
very good. I have stupid Independence Day Resurgence.
I never
Batman,
A lot of crap on
Teenage
here.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes.
How did you figure
Transporter
out how to share
3.
your screen, man? What the heck am I doing wrong?
There's a little button here that says share screen.
You know what? I left the call at one point and then rejoined it. I think you're hosting it. That's why.
Oh.
But yeah, you've got a lot of movies on there, and some of them we share because there used to be the Ultra.
Ooh, El Royale. El Royale, so good.
Oh, the.
Ooh, I forgot that was on there.
I haven't seen it.
Battle
yet.
at El Royale.
Bad times, yeah.
Bad time.
Yeah, I've got a lot of good ones in my collection too. Here, you know what? We'll go to your screen, Lance. Let's look at you only. Yeah, there's some good movies on here, man. I'm a big
Patriots
movie
Day. Hey, how's your mother?
So my wife wanted to take a nap today. So my parents were in town last night, and then they left this morning. And she's like, "Hey, I want to take a nap after they leave." So she did. So I had like two. She like took a 3-hour nap. So I had like 3 hours to watch TV and play video games, and that was wonderful. And I had yesterday off, so I binge watched Titan season 1 again in preparation for Titan season 2, and then after that I came downstairs and started working on some Couch Cruncher stuff earlier this afternoon. And my wife comes up and she says, "Hey, I'm actually going to leave because I want to go do some shopping real quick." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So then I had another 2-3 hours and started watching Kingsman. So it's been a good day.
Nice. You got some good watching in.
Speaking of Kingsman, I started watching Pennyworth.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of Kingsman and the Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch, Kingsman's fantastic.
You mean Pennyworth?
Or Pennyworth is fantastic. It's very, very good. And the premise is absolutely ridiculous and stupid, but they figured out a way to make it interesting, and the characters are interesting. I've only watched 2 episodes because I think that's all that's available. And it's absolutely fantastic. I recommend that to everybody. The problem with it though is it's on Epics and
Epics. And who has Epic?
Who has
How many
it?
people
The
don't
only
have
reason
cable?
I have is because I switched to DirecTV and they gave it to me for free for a year.
Yeah, well, and so many people nowadays don't have cable. I mean, that's why we were talking about the whole Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus bundle. I mean, it's a good deal. I probably won't get it because I refuse to have ads, and so I will pay the extra to have Hulu without ads.
I'm
but
sure they're going to have an updated version where you can get the
Maybe.
bundle and have no ads.
maybe because
Hulu.
they've had a Spotify and Hulu bundle for a while now, and it doesn't have an ad-free version. They won't give you like, "I'll pay $5 more or whatever it is." Like, I don't want the ads, but they haven't done it yet. So if they do it, absolutely, I'm in. I've been saying for a while now that cable. I don't know if cable's going to go away for a while. I think it'll go away eventually. But I think what we're about to see is that streaming services are going to be the new cable. And I think Disney's going to be the first one to do it, where they're currently doing it, but with the stuff that they own. But I could see Disney eventually giving you something where you pay $50 a month and you get Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and DC, and like, you know, you get like a package of all these streaming services. I have a feeling it's going to go that way eventually.
Yeah, I think so. And Warner Brothers' new HBO streaming service is coming out. That's supposed to be HBO, Warner Brothers, and DC Universe all rolled into one.
Yeah, so that's what I'm not as sure about, and maybe you're more familiar, but like, is it the DC Universe app like rolled into it, or is it just the DC Universe content?
I think it's gonna. I'm not sure.
Because I
I
know
don't
Doom Patrol Season 2 is
know.
going to be on HBO Max, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think all the video content will be on the HBO app. I don't know if you're going to have access to like the comic books and stuff like you do with DC Universe right now.
Which I don't... The comic book stuff is a cool feature, but I use DC Universe to watch the shows and other DC-related content. So I wouldn't miss the comic books. So I would potentially be open to getting HBO Max, because for what? $7 more a month, I get all the HBO stuff and whatnot. But then again, I don't watch a lot of HBO, so it's not overly interesting to me either.
See, my
Yeah, but
question
they,
is,
they did name the service after you,
It's true.
so you would have to.
I should get a discount.
You should get a discount.
Yeah.
Naming rights.
For real. You're a lawyer. Help me out with this.
Max is
There we go.
his IP,
let's file a lawsuit.
intellectual property.
I'm already drafting the complaint right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Go on, Sam. That's why you're on the team.
I'm drafting the complaint right now. This is me working.
Well, okay, you know what? Speaking of complaints, I have a complaint to lodge with Disney. It seems like they're on the fence of whether or not they want to allow Deadpool 3 to be rated R or not. There's been talk about whether or not it needs to be R or if they can keep Deadpool around, put him in the MCU, and make it PG-13. And while Once Upon a Deadpool was pretty funny, Deadpool, I think, thrives in a rated R setting. What do you guys think?
I think what they need to do is maybe not make it a hard R, so that way he can jump from his standalones to maybe a movie featuring Spider-Man, which they've talked about Spider-Man 3 being Deadpool, Spider-Man, and Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I think if they make it a soft R, like drop a couple F-bombs, you know what would be really funny? They keep him R, and then when he's in the Spider-Man movie, bleep him every time he says the F word. Like just have like
And I'm fine
censor
with that.
the hell. Yeah, and then like every time he curses, have Tom Holland like look at him like, "What the hell, dude? Like, what's wrong with?"
And
I think it'd be hilarious.
Could be funny. They did it in Once Upon a Deadpool, kind of, where like they censored him, like, and they made jokes about it. That's what I wanted them to do, and they did it. But I don't think for his movie you should do that. So I agree that it doesn't need to be as hard of an R, but Deadpool, that's Deadpool's character. So I think.
Well,
when he's
Deadpool
in
2, one of the best parts is like when he's like being dismembered and stuff. Like, and you can't put that in a PG-13 movie.
No,
Not
they
the way
missed
they
out
did.
on some of the humor with Once Upon a Deadpool because of that. They missed out on some of that humor.
I have a feeling that and Sam, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I think Once Upon a Deadpool was created solely because Fox knew that they were being acquired by Disney, and Disney wanted to test to see how it would work.
I mean, that's certainly possible. It's a test market case, and it certainly didn't make as much as Deadpool 2, but that's because everybody had already seen Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
And the thing that's great about a Deadpool movie is, yeah, it's a superhero movie, it's a Marvel movie, it's an X-Men movie, but it's also even more indulgent than those other movies are.
Like Logan.
Deadpool. Well,
I think Logan's like that.
Logan wasn't indulgent because it still had a story to tell. It didn't like wink and nod at the audience and then give you all of the gratuitous violence and gratuitous cursing.
Okay, so you and I are defining indulgent differently. I was thinking of indulgent as like more fulfilling, like more of a weight to it. Like I thought Logan had like more depth and like it wasn't a prototypical.
That's the opposite of indulgent.
Are you saying indulgent like superficially like filling your?
I'm talking about a big old piece of chocolate cake with extra frosting, with chocolate whipped cream on top, and that's what I'm talking about. And a big middle finger coming out of it. That's how indulgent Deadpool is.
I get what you mean because like Logan was a very grounded movie still. It's not. Yeah, I see what you mean. Deadpool 2 is Deadpool in general. It's very over the top and very out of this world. And yeah, you've got him talking to the audience. You've got, it's just.
So like Zombieland. Would Zombieland be like that?
Okay, so you have lots of different products within the superhero genre, specifically within Marvel, right? With Doctor Strange, there's a certain flavor to it, right? It's a mind bender. It's something that you're going to go into and you're going to have just a different perspective on reality by the time you're done. With Captain America, you're going to have some patriotic good feelings by the time you're done, but it also gives you a little bit of espionage, a little bit of a political thriller. Uh, and so each one has its own flavor. And I think part of the reason why the X-Men series struggled as of late is that they didn't know what they were delivering.
Right.
They kind of lost sight of the struggle of the X-Men that was so clear in X1 and X2. And then Deadpool also has a clear mission, and that is indulgence, right? Just the over the top adult humor, and they didn't back down from the adult humor, right? The National or International Women's Day is a prime example, and that's what I mean when I say indulgent, is that they know what you're going for, and they gave you as much of it as you could have hoped for. And then Deadpool 2 tried to do the same thing. I think they succeeded, but just I would say about 80% of the first one. In that they tried to spend a lot more time making Deadpool a role model. And he's not really a role model, right? But they did a lot of like him trying to connect with the fire kid, right? And
Matt is saying
try
we're
to
being
get
too
them
serious and that we need to chug a beer. So none of us drink, but let me chug my my Mountain Dew with some watermelon in it.
Yeah, I will say Deadpool needs to be indulgent. I think the level of
Oh, too fast.
the level of fun was appropriate in 1 and 2, and I think taking it PG-13. I like your idea, Lance, bleeping him out in a Spider-Man team up. But if it's his own movie, it needs to be as indulgent as the first one was.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! I did it.
I just hope they don't ruin the character. Like, I hope they don't try to make him something that he's not. So Matt says I look like a security guard. Apparently,
I don't think that's a good thing. Anyway,
Security?
Because it's like, hey,
well,
yeah,
speaking of shows that are maybe not indulgent,
Intruder.
but gratuitous, let's just get into our main topic. This was a pretty slow news week, so sorry that our headlines really weren't that exciting. So we want to talk about The Boys, but I guess before that, you guys want to tell us a little bit about Game On Expo you guys were at? Give us a little bit of background.
Game On Expo. Yeah, I would love to talk about Game On Expo. So one of the best panels I ever went to was probably 4 years ago at Game On Expo, and it featured the completionist. I guess it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the completionist, Gerard Khalil, he's a YouTuber. He reviews games by completing them 100%. He came and did a panel at Game On Expo featuring Mario Maker. And he built a level, and he had people run it in the audience, and everybody who ran it got 10 lives. And it was an amazing panel. The energy in there was so high. People were screaming like it was the NBA Finals. It was so intense. And the thing that sets Game On Expo apart is that they have tons and tons of free video games to play. They feature a lot of retro gaming console games like SNES games and NES games and Game Boy Advance. Just a lot of the retro style gaming. They also have a lot of modern tournament games like Splatoon and Smash and a couple others.
Your favorite, right?
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, my favorite thing in Smash is Jigglypuff. I love to watch Jigglypuff, and not everything that Jigglypuff does. He has this one move that just
such a funny character.
I get a kick out of this one move he does called Rest. And you got this little pink marshmallow, right? And he comes floating down. And when he gets on top of a character, you hit down smash, and it launches the other character up into the air. And if it doesn't knock him out, when they come back down, they have a flower like planted in their head. And it's so funny to me, but nobody plays Jigglypuff, so I disappointed every time I go to these tournaments because no one plays Jigglypuff, so I never get to see Rest.
They did in Phoenix. I have never seen anybody. Okay, so I'm a big NFL fan, and I go to the NFL games, and I'm screaming at my TV. I'm ready to throw stuff at my TV. That is Sam watching somebody play Jigglypuff. Oh my gosh, he's just screaming moves like stuff, and it's nonsensical in my mind because I don't know what any of the stuff means that he's saying.
So it's like
So
All I say
you
is
were like
rest. I just keep saying rest.
You were
He's
like
screaming
that
at
chick
these
who's
people,
never watched
dude.
football, who's at the game, has no idea what's going on, and they're just like, "Go, sports player, go!"
they're like RPO, RPO. You know, but that's Sam watching people play Smash Brothers. The guy gets so into it. I've never seen anything like it except from people at like sporting events and mainly NFL games. Like it's the funniest thing. The next time Sam or Max, when we go to another expo and they have a Smash tournament, just sit with Sam for an hour, and it will be the funniest experience you've ever had in your life. Like I'm just I'm watching him watch that more than I'm watching the actual event.
It won't take an hour. It won't take an hour. We'll get to the good stuff right away. It won't take an hour. But yeah, and then Game On Expo also has tabletop games. They do have a limited selection of panels. And I will say this, that Game On Expo really suffers when it comes to the panels. Most of the celebrities that they have come are voice actors from anime or from video games. And
Were there any
so
big
unless
video
you're a
game
big
voice actors?
follower... Yeah, they do. They had the guy who played Mario last year.
He was there
Last year
this
they
year.
did. This year
was
we
there
were
this
looking at... I mean, this one went straight to my heart. The lady who does the voice of Jigglypuff was there.
Yeah, and Misty.
She was there.
She does Misty too.
Okay, there you go. I'm not as big into the Nintendo stuff, and there's really not that much voice acting to be done. So I don't know. I can't connect with a voice actor of Jigglypuff or Mario when they don't really have any lines. That's the extent of
Anyway,
their work.
So Sam and
Anyway,
I talked
it's-
briefly. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they have tabletop games too. So they have a Pokemon card game. They have Magic the Gathering. They have Dungeons and Dragons, and you can go there and play with strangers. So the thing that really is kind of disappointing is that if you are not part of the tournaments or the gaming consoles are all taken, which happens because they fill up
Quickly.
fast. Then you're wandering around the expo floor looking for cool stuff, and they just don't have a really big selection. So while I do think Game On Expo brings a lot of things that other conventions in the state lack, like the intense focus on gaming, I really, really enjoy that part. But if you're not part of the gaming, it can be tough to find something worthwhile to do.
And now that was my biggest thing. Like, first of all, it's 3 days, right? The expo floor is maybe half the size of what the expo floor is in Tucson, and the Tucson expo floor is small. It's maybe half the size of what they have in Phoenix. So they have it at the smaller Phoenix Convention Center, and it's a very small expo floor, maybe 20 aisles, I would say, right, Sam? Would you say about 20 aisles? And most of it, maybe less than that.
It was like 10.
Most of it's taken up by consoles and stuff like that. But I was expecting to see a lot of toy vendors, maybe like voice actors or video game designers, like people that design video games and stuff. There's a lot of artists drawing stuff like Marvel characters and stuff that you would see at Comic-Con. There's barely any toy vendors. I can think of maybe 4 or 5. And the rest is like secondhand retro game. Like there was a ton of like pawn shop type places selling Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games, and I'm like, I can only do so much of this, and nothing anybody had was unique. There wasn't like unique retro games there. Like I saw
I disagree. I
Fox,
disagree with you.
Punisher.
I disagree with you. We saw this one booth where they had custom games
Yeah, they're called
retrofitted repros. They had repros like retrofitted into Nintendo cartridges and SNES cartridges, but they were original games. And
So those repros, like we saw the two Zelda ones. I don't even remember the names. Those they didn't create those. So somebody else made that game, and the source code is available, and they're sending it out and putting it in a packet. You can get the repros anywhere. Like One Up, I think, or something like that sells repros. Like repros are really easy to find. What I'm saying as far as like stuff that's not so unique is like I didn't see a copy of like Earthbound there. Earthbound is a highly sought after Super Nintendo game. Like I was thinking more of like the Holy Grail collectibles. Repros aren't really Holy Grail.
That game on Expo though. That's not.
Well, for how many used game vendors there were, I would think that somebody would have, because if I go into Bookman's right now, Bookman's for people that are listening outside of Arizona, Bookman's is a secondhand like record, video game, movie, book store. I guess that's how you would.
All right, let's be real. Hang on, Lance. Hang on.
Yeah.
Bookman's is nothing short of a treasure. You go in there.
That place is awesome.
You go in there looking for a comic book, and you're going to come out carrying an original NES console and artwork to hang in your room. And this one's especially for Lance. They're going to have rare vinyl pop bobblehead collectibles for Lance to buy. You could get an electric guitar, a saxophone, a keyboard, Thor's hammer,
and a cup of coffee.
All under one roof. I mean, Bookman's is legendary.
Well, okay,
but here's the thing.
Speaking of Bookman's, let me just real quick. Last week on the show, Heath, my brother-in-law, was with us, and I was talking about how he has a gunblade, which is a weapon from Final Fantasy VIII. They got that thing at freaking Bookman's. So Sam is right. The place is a treasure. I've gotten so many books
Zia
there.
Records.
Like, I've got a bookshelf right here that is full of Star Wars books, all from Bookman's. I haven't read any of them, but hey.
So Zia Records is a big secondhand store here. That's probably there's more locations than there are Bookman's, and Zia Records offers a lot of the same kind of things. You can go into Zia Records and find hard to find video games. You're gonna pay top dollar for them, but they had a booth there at this expo and had no hard to find stuff. I'm like, if you're gonna do a video game expo and you're going to market your booth on retro games and collectibles, wouldn't you bring your highly sought after stuff, since this is your target audience? As a collector, and Max can attest, I have a vast retro video game collection, right, Max?
Oh, yeah.
And so there's certain things that I'm looking for, and they weren't there. And then the things that I don't have that I see a lot, but are one of the things that I pick up if I ever came across it, like the Sega Genesis X-Men animated game from the animated series, it was unboxed and the label was falling off. That's like a $20 game if it was a complete inbox, and this guy's selling a cartridge that I'm not even certain if it works for $20. So the dollar amount that they were asking for some of these things were way too high. Then they had maybe 4 or 5 pop vendors, but they only had maybe 40 pops in their thing, and then it was mostly like animes. I go into Game On Expo, and I feel like they don't have. This was only their 4th year, right, Sam? Are you falling asleep on me?
Well, the audio kind of mushed it all together. I didn't hear the last part of what you said.
This is like their 4th or 5th year.
Yeah.
I'm starting
I
to wonder
feel
if I
like
went to Game On Expo a few years ago. I went to something that was gaming, but it was in Mesa.
It was. Yeah, that's where it
I,
was.
It was in Mesa a few years ago. Cause
Yep.
Mesa
okay, because
Convention
then when
Center.
I went, I loved it, but I'm not as big of a collector as you. So maybe I did go to Game On Expo like 3 years ago, and I thought it
Yeah.
was freaking awesome.
It
Cortana,
was.
the voice of
Yeah.
Cortana was there.
Yep.
Master Chief was there, and we got to meet
Mm-hmm.
them. Tyler and I went together. Now I'm like feeling jealous now. It's funny because Lance, you're talking about how you didn't really particularly like it, but because I'm Max the gamer guy, I'm sitting here like, dang it, why couldn't I have gone? I wish I could have flown down to Arizona, even though it wasn't that big of a convention. Uh, I'm remembering fondly now how much I liked Game On Expo because I like Phoenix Comic Con or FanFest, FanFusion, whatever you want to call it. But I'm a gamer mostly. Above everything else, I'm a gamer, and I remember very fond memories of Game On Expo. So I'm gonna have to see if they have something like that here in Colorado because I would love to go to one of those.
I'm sure they do.
I know
Max,
they
you
do.
bring up a great point, Max, and I think Lance just probably isn't. He probably isn't in the niche market that they're trying to serve. I didn't see Lance play a single single video game while we were there.
I played Injustice in one of the panels. They had a tournament that I was playing in.
Anytime I turn around and he was gone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and play Street Fighter, or I'm gonna sit down and play Smash, or I'm gonna sit down and play Splatoon. And Max would come back, or Lance would come back and be like, "Where you been?" I was like, "I was here playing this game, man. Where you been?"
I'm at the Game On Expo. I'm gaming.
I just got really excited about going because I thought it was going to be a huge vendor hall, and then it's not even at the main convention center; it was at the smaller. So I was
Dude,
expecting. I go to these things to like accumulate crap. You know what I mean? Like that's
See, I
that's
go
why
for the
I like to go.
community. And that's why I liked Game
But
On Expo because it was small. And like
It was
when
small.
I went, I got to meet and take a picture with a Destiny cosplayer, and that was really cool. I got to talk to some of like the actual cosplayers one on one. Like that was really enjoyable for me. So I think that's why I like Game On Expo more than like the Phoenix Fan Fusions because they're too big. They're too big for
Yeah.
me. I like that intimate.
Yeah.
See, Tucson by far has been my favorite because you have the community aspect. They don't focus on just one niche market. So you get the video games, you get the comic books, you get the movies, the TV, everything that has to do with it. Might have been that this was just so neat that it just, after 4 hours, I was like, okay, I saw everything. You know, none of the panels were anything that was like, oh, I have to go see that. You know what I mean? Like, but I did get this
Well,
awesome picture. Let me
I
see
didn't
if
even know there were
everybody.
panels when I went a few years ago.
They only
Yeah.
had like 6 rooms, I think. Right, Sam?
Yeah, that's right.
Check out my awesome picture, everybody. You see that?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Nice.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, nice.
So
I will
Ghost Rider is
say
one of my
that-
favorite characters.
I will say that Game On Expo is less about seeing stuff and more about playing games.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get a chance to play a lot of games. They have a ton of games to play there, and there is a ton of stuff to do. But if you're looking for something new or something unique on the vendor floor versus Comic-Con, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think I got something there, but yeah, I mean there was a lot of cool retro games. I'm not into retro games, so I mean I like them, but I'm not like Lance. I don't collect them. I'm very into visual fidelity, like the best graphics, the best audio. You know, I'm all about the new games. Like I was playing Gears of War 4 earlier today to get ready for Gears 5 that's coming out in about a month. Actually, a month from today. And that is my kind of thing to play because I've got it on the Xbox One X on my 4K TV with my surround sound system, and my wife was gone, so I could blast it. That is like my gaming experience these days. Or playing Uncharted 4, you know, like those like visually compelling games. I mean, I enjoy other stuff like Destiny.
See, and I like
as
those
well.
games. They didn't have a lot of that.
And they wouldn't. Like Game On Expo is more the multiplayer stuff. So like when I went, we played Mario Kart and Smash Brothers and like that was or Gold. I think we played Goldeneye. I think they had Goldeneye on N64.
Oh yeah, they had that too.
Yeah, like,
I
Yeah,
would
that too.
have loved to see. I don't know why they don't do Mario Kart battles like
They
they
did.
did at Smash Brothers.
Oh, because Smash Bros. Ultimate is newer, and a lot more people can get into it.
Yeah, I can't
A lot
get
more
into
people
Smash
into it
Bros.
right now.
I would
anymore.
love to play.
I played the first Smash Bros. And then the one on GameCube, and then ever since then I've been so bad at them. I've played all of them, but I suck, so I just can't really get into them anymore.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well,
all right, boys. I want to talk about the show The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys.
Oh,
So,
not that show.
The Boys is the Amazon show that just came out not too long ago. Kyle says, oh, by the way, let's talk about this. Kyle says the best thing about Phoenix Comic Con was hanging out with Lance, Tyler, and Sam. Aww.
Aww.
And he's thinking about going to Tucson Comic Con as well. So that's
Aww. Come hang out with us.
You can hitch a ride with us. Yeah,
Come
I
hang
think
out
we're
with
gonna
us.
do that Walking Dead. Are we gonna do that Walking Dead panel again, Sam?
I've been debating.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I thought it was one of our most popular ones.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I enjoyed that
I
one.
don't know if it's still on the table, but I'm still debating on whether or not I can come to Tucson Comic Con or not.
You can always come.
Yeah, it's just tough for getting off work, but since it's only like 2 days, I might be able to do it. But then again,
It's
the flights.
2 days. But yeah, if we get enough people, we can get like a Airbnb or something like that and just go chill out in Tucson.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
My
won't make
favorite
my
place.
plans on live on the show, but let's talk about The Boys, which is a wonderful new show from Amazon, and it is doing extremely well. Like Amazon released an article, or they released news this week that it's been one of their most successful, most binge
It is their
watched
most.
shows. The articles
It's
I keep
their
saying
most
are
binge watch show.
I keep seeing it as one of the most binge watched, but regardless, it is very popular. People like it. It is getting a season 2. They've already confirmed that, and it's been out 2 weeks, and they've already confirmed it's getting season 2, which is awesome news. Let's just talk about it. And as usual, guys, we're going to go into full spoilers. So if you don't want to hear about The Boys, if you're still watching it, tune out now, unless you don't mind spoilers. It's 8 episodes. They're about an hour each. It's really not a long watch. I watched it within like 3 days. Like my wife goes to bed at 9, and I stay up till midnight, and I watched over like a 3-day period. I just watched the entire show.
So, I'll go first since I've been really excited about talking about this because I saw the first 2 episodes 6 months ago, I think. Because I had a pre-screening with Allied Marketing or Finger Paint. I don't remember which one. So my buddy Eric and I went and watched, and I got a different first 2 episodes than what they released. So in the stuff I watched at the end of the 2nd episode, I think is what they the main girl, what do they call her? Starlight. She finds out who Huey is and decides to help. But she doesn't find out who Huey is until like 3rd to last episode, and it doesn't really help until the last episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. So originally they had her helping like at the beginning.
Well, they didn't. It doesn't show her ever helping. Last scene is "I'm gonna help you" is basically what she says, and when I didn't see that, I'm like, did I hallucinate that? Like, I had to call my buddy Eric. This happened, right? And he said, yeah, it happened. So they must have tested audiences and decided to revert what they were doing. I don't know, but
I didn't see what you saw, but I would say based on what we did get, I think what we got was better than that. Like I think the suspense building up to her being betrayed and then wanting to help is probably better than 2 episodes in. All of a sudden she wants to help. I don't know. I think it's good the way they released it.
Yeah, I thought if I rated it right now, I mean, it would be almost a perfect score. It was just, when they say Seth Rogen's being attached to something, you immediately have this vision of what you're going to get. And this was not at all what I thought I would have gotten from a Seth Rogen producer. Yes, there was moments that were irreverent and over the top, but not to the effect that you thought you would get in a Rogen movie. You know what I mean? Or a Rogen show. I mean, the casting was fantastic. The direction of the entire show, it kept you engaged for 8 episodes to the point where I was pissed when because most of these are 10 to 13 episodes. This was only, I had no idea it was ending, that there was no more after the eighth episode until at the end, and I realized, oh, this is the season. I wanted more, and I haven't felt that way with a show in where I am thoroughly invested and excited for what season 2 might be. Not even Stranger Things did that for me. This show had everything that you would want as a comic book fan. I mean, I have no idea what the source material is like. I only know that that Huey's character in the source material was supposed to be Simon Pegg. In the book, he is Simon, and they casted him as Huey's dad. That's the only thing that I know about the source material. But it was, I don't know, man. I watched it with a smile on my face, dude. I thought it was so. And then that scene where they blow up the what's that dude's name? The invisible guy.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Oh, Clairvoyant.
His name. No, not clairvoyant. Translucent.
Translucent. You're right.
Translucent. Well, we already said there was going to be spoilers. So if you're still watching and you're pissed that I just gave a spoiler, sorry.
Well, just to reiterate.
So they explode Translucent, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen, dude. From
pretty cool.
his rectal cavity, they exploded him, dude. Like, it was awesome, man. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to put into words just how much I love the show.
It's very good. So the thing about The Boys that I thought was so interesting was that I get like a sense of satisfaction out of finishing a show. There's like a sense of accomplishment, and The Boys was so fast that it was easy to accomplish. But I got done and I'm like, I don't want this to be over. I want another like several episodes. Like I've said here on the show many times that I really like short shows, and I do, and I'm glad that it was only 8 episodes. But at the same time, I want more. Like it was very good, and it also ends on a pretty big. I don't know if cliffhanger is the right word. I mean, it is a cliffhanger, but it's very open.
Yeah.
Like, there's a ton of open plot lines. Like it ends, and we have no idea what happened to. I forget his name, but the fast guy. We know Hollander.
A-Train.
Yeah, A-Train. We know Hollander is, the dad of that kid, and that
Homelander.
Homelander.
Did you call him Hollander?
Homelander. My
Yeah.
bad.
So Matt just said someone needs to watch Preacher. Have you guys seen Preacher?
I haven't, but I've heard it's good.
So Preacher is the same as Rogan. It's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg that produced. And Preacher's great, but Preacher is more outlandish than The Boys, just with some of the stuff that they do in that show. Just to address Matt's comment.
All right, so I want to talk about.
Go ahead. Sam.
I want to talk about storytelling. The thing about The Boys that was really neat was it was very tight storytelling. They didn't waste a lot of scenes. Every single scene meant something, and it pushed you towards the ultimate conclusion and the twist at the end. And I really like that. I mean, if you're going to drag it 5 more episodes, then you have to question what's the point. What's the point of dragging it out 5 more episodes? The storytelling was already really tight. But there was a lot about the Elizabeth Shue story that I was like, okay, it ended. I think it ended a little abruptly. Maybe they could have spent a little more time on Elizabeth Shue.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming.
It didn't seem like her story wrapped up in a nice way. It seemed like she was getting ready to show us the inner workings of Vought in a way that maybe she didn't even know about yet.
Yeah, I was not expecting Homelander to freaking burn her eyes out.
And then he melts her face in. So we didn't get that perspective, which would have been nice. And that, maybe we'll get it in a season 2 from someone else's point of view. But oh my gosh, did they ever give you the sense of not just creepiness from Homelander, but just absolute terror from that guy. He is so scary,
No,
and
absolutely.
I love that they didn't pull any punches with his character. I mean, when he's in front of the public and he's giving his thumbs up and his fake smiles, that's one thing. But then as soon as the public eye is off, so off comes the mask and he's back to his horrible self. And he was so terrifying. And I love that. It's very hard to get a villain who is so consistently disgusting. Um, I mean, I can think of a handful, but it seems like they always turn them into good guys at the end because they end up being the only character you can depend on.
See, so it's interesting because I definitely am a big villain fan, and I can get picky. I feel like sometimes, and Homelander was, I agree, a really good villain. Like, it's difficult to strike a balance between a villain that is hateable and yet likable at the same time. And I think Homelander strikes that. He's not likable because he's awful. He's an awful person, but he's an enjoyable
Right.
character to watch, and you want to like keep seeing more of his character. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
there's
and
some
I think that
villains. Go ahead.
comes from the fact that he is dependable. And in other words, you always know he's going to do the worst possible thing in every situation.
Hmm.
Whatever is the most diabolical, whatever is the most um, depraved, that's the route he's going to take.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so compelling is that you can rely on him to be evil and just to be the worst. Whereas other characters like Huey, we're on a journey with Huey. We're trying to discover what kind of person he's going to be. And for the most part, you can't tell if he's going to be, dedicated to the cause of the boys or he's going to let his feelings for Starlight interfere, and it waffles back and forth, and so he can kind of be irritating in some sense or disappointing in some sense because you may expect him to take a different choice, and then he ends up doing the other.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And so like it's interesting though because for me it's not even just reliability because for instance you've got characters like Joffrey on Game of Thrones who are very reliable in being terrible, but I just hated Joffrey all the time. There wasn't ever a moment that I wanted him to be alive. Homelander is such a good character that I want to see his story drawn out enough to where we get a good resolution. Joffrey, I just wanted him dead immediately because he was so annoying and just so awful all the time. And what was I watching? I was watching something else recently where it was the same thing. I can't remember now, but that's to me a good villain is likable and hateable at the same time. Homelander does that.
Loki.
Joker does that. Loki does that, but Loki's one of those things Sam was talking about where they become a good guy. I mean, he's kind of always both, but yeah, Loki's a good example.
Killmonger.
Here's an example. Here's an example of a villain they turned good, and then the character became unlikable, and that is Sylar from Heroes.
Oh, Sylar was great. I agree. Yeah.
Season one,
Yeah,
season
when
one,
they turned him
Sylar.
nice. Yeah.
Season one, Sylar was amazing, and then season 3 and season 4, Sylar was so disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you
That
can't
show
make.
really went down.
Yeah, I think they suffered from the writer's strike. I think that's what happened, but it was
Well,
a
and then
long
they
time
tried to
ago.
bring it back, and the man with the horn-rimmed glasses, they made him unlikable in the reboot.
I always liked him.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but did you watch the reboot?
Yeah, I actually liked
yeah. I watched one episode and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what are they doing?"
it. I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan, but I would love the first season.
Up until the last episode.
Yeah.
And
So-
in fact, the last episode was good too, but up until the last 10 minutes of the last episode.
So I just did a quick Google, and here are a few other villains that I think fit into my category. So Joker, I mentioned. Agent Smith from The Matrix. Thanos.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. Who's another one? I don't think Darth Vader fits. The Emperor is one for me. I love the Emperor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. He's a very good one.
Oh yeah.
Voldemort, he's pretty darn good as well. Like, there's a lot of these villains that I think are really good at being bad guys, but yet enjoyable to watch. You know what I mean? So, Terminator's on this list too. And I did a quick Google. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Terminator's kind of a boring villain because it's got no personality. It's the
You
Terminator
couldn't
movies
really
are so
call
fun to watch.
Terminator. You couldn't really call Terminator the villain. You'd call Skynet the villain.
Yeah, fair enough. I still don't think,
Terminator's not a villain.
yeah, I still don't think the villains in the Terminator series are really that exciting.
Well, in Terminator 1, when Arnold Schwarzenegger's supposed to be the bad guy, he has zero personality. He's just kind of like a walking bulldozer,
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly.
You know
That's
what I mean? Like,
just like the Russian guy in Stranger Things season 3. He literally was the Terminator.
Yeah, he totally
Without-
was.
oh, yeah,
Not
yeah,
like a
yeah.
robot.
Well, do you notice that he was even like, he looks like Arnold
Oh, yeah.
Schwarzenegger a
No,
little bit.
it was very on the nose. Like, they did that on purpose, and it was
Yeah.
well done.
Oh yeah, yeah. But he's a walking bulldozer. He's just mowing down anything his way. It wasn't until Terminator 2 that he starts to develop kind of humanistic value to him. You know what I mean? And at that point, he's a good guy, right? Is it Terminator 2 that he's been re-sanctioned to protect John Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so at that point, Terminator's the good guy and Skynet is the bad guy. Well, Skynet's always been the bad guy, but now Skynet
T-1000.
takes a much larger. Yeah, so each movie the villain has changed. Terminator is Arnold Schwarzenegger and he's a good guy. And
The Terminators are created by Skynet, but Skynet doesn't really ever get a face necessarily, and so Skynet's really not, to me, as good of a
Right.
villain as some other ones. Like, so another one that I love, and Kelsey, my wife, always gives me a hard time for this. Agent Ward in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I freaking love him. He's another one of those, like, I love this character.
when they made him the Hive and killed him off, I was pissed. And then they brought him back in the framework, and I was like, yes, figure out a way to bring him.
Yeah, I loved Ward. I didn't like him as Hive. I disagree on that.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Oh sure. That's a good one.
It sounds like we need to do an episode where we go over best villains. We need to do some research beforehand. We can just chat.
We
about it.
did a best villain, probably like our 4th or 5th episode, but
Yeah.
I think
It's worth doing.
that
again.
was with Jay and Cameron. I think it's worth doing again.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's an interesting conversation. Well, anyway, so The Boys, we'll get back to that, is about the superheroes being the villains, and I think it's so good. Like we talked about, Homelander is this like version of Superman of what if Superman was made super corporate and was bad. And because some people say he's a mix of Captain America and Superman, and I can see that, but I think this is just you take Superman and you make him corporate and evil, and that's what happens. He puts a freaking United States flag on his back, and he starts being a freaking a-hole when he's not on camera.
You kind of get that with the Superman arc Red Sun, where he becomes a child of Russia. So Red Sun, I don't know if either of you have read Red Sun, but
I'm
the
aware
premise
of it.
of Red Sun is if Superman landed on Earth 12 hours earlier or later, he would have landed in Russia and not Canada.
Yeah,
And so
Right.
he's brought up by the Russian government and everything, and he becomes very much a government worker and is imposing like communism, and he basically the whole world turns into a communist state because of what Superman has complete control, can do whatever he wants.
Supergirl's last
So-
season actually did a similar story arc to that, where there's a Supergirl.
Oh, they
clone that
adapted
was in
Red
Russia.
Sun.
Kind of, not entirely to that, but they had
I hate that
Supergirl in Russia, and it was like a bad Supergirl because the Russians were raising her to be bad.
I am not a fan of the Supergirl show.
Well, anyway, yeah. But anyway, we keep getting off track from the boys. But the point is just that Homelander did a very good job at being, what if Superman is bad? Like that airplane scene when he literally just looks at everybody and says, "If you move, I will burn all of you," or whatever. Like he says he's going to laser all of them and kill them, and he just lets them all die. Like he could have saved a few, but he's thinking to himself, "Nah, if I save a few, then they're going to get mad at us for not saving everybody. So we're just going to let everyone die." Like,
Yeah, and then Maeve is there, like trying to like convince him, like, "Hey, we can save them all." Like,
yeah, she's like on the
and
edge of
I'm
being
really
good and bad.
interested to see what her story arc is in the future,
Yeah,
because I think that she could potentially jump sides.
oh, she's going to. I think that's very clear.
It seems like we're about halfway through the story, because of the 7, you've got 4 left.
Right?
There's
There's
still 4
Maeve.
left.
The what are the?
I mean, we
the
can't
guy
really-
that's all
we can't-
dressed in black.
Yeah,
The
Noir.
The deep is kind
Noir.
of nothing. Black Noir doesn't really. He hasn't been developed much, which I think is fine.
Oh, I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna have a bigger role later. I think that's
Yeah.
purposeful.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think he's going to change sides. He's going to stay on the side. He's
Yeah,
on.
I think the most interesting development with Noir was when he sat down to play the piano at the party at the end,
That was
Yeah, and it
interesting.
shows he's kind of artistic.
Yeah,
where he sits down, he starts he he glares at the other guy until he leaves, and then he plays the piano. And I was like, well, now there's something interesting. That is very interesting.
yeah,
It reminds me, his helmet looks like the old, like, Japanese haircut where they're shaved on top, but they've got the top knot in the back.
hmm
So his helmet looks very, very similar to like a samurai or a ninja top knot. And then he sits down and he plays the piano like he's some kind of prodigy, and it's like, okay, well, maybe he was a Japanese prodigy that got pumped up with Compound V. And maybe there's some very fascinating character arc there. And if he is Japanese, so is Kimiko. What's going to happen there? What's going to happen between Kimiko and Noir?
hmm That's true.
She and Noir seem to be paired up very nicely, and they will probably end up.
I love
what's
her
what's the
character.
very worst thing that could happen is that Noir ends up being her brother. That could be the worst possible scenario.
So she's
Yeah,
not
because they don't.
Japanese,
She doesn't
right?
know what happened to her brother.
That's possible.
She doesn't know what happened to her brother.
That could be your brother. You're right. But she's not Japanese, right? Wasn't it like Vietnamese or was it Korean?
Kimiko is a Japanese name. They didn't
Oh, okay.
say where she was from. They just said Asian. Kimiko is Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Sam, this is why you're on the show.
Yeah. Right. No, that's a good theory, though. That's a really good theory.
That's a fantastic theory.
talk
And if
about
she's
her
on the
brother a
good
lot.
side, yeah, that
So-
might be exactly the reason why he hasn't been fully developed yet. Is because that's going to be a major story arc of next year. I bet you.
Yeah, and she hasn't been talking. Black Noir, I don't think, has a single line. So, I mean, yeah. There is a comic book out there that we could read and see if any of these theories are correct. Not that they're going to do everything that's in the book, but they're following it.
Is it a Dark Horse comic?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, man.
I'm not sure.
And so you're gonna see Noir. He has to be eliminated from the 7. Starlight is going to be eliminated on her own choice, where she's already kind of chosen the better path.
Wildstorm Dynamite Entertainment is who did the book.
Oh, Dynamite.
Yeah.
And then Maeve is going to be brought down by her own choices, as is Homelander. And so those are the things that we're looking forward to is the taking out of Noir, Maeve, and Homelander from the 7. The whole 7 has to be eliminated.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Like, I don't think that they're going to just run the entire show on the 7. I would imagine that maybe 2 to 3 seasons is what it takes to finally kill Homelander. But I don't think that if the show's popular, they're just going to end it. They'd keep going with it, and I'd be curious to see where they'd go from there.
And remember, they have a whole network of superheroes. Like the 7 is the primary thing, but
That's
they have
true.
a whole network of corporate people they're gonna start plugging people in to refill the 7.
That's
So there will
right, 'cause
be
they did have
opportunities for further story arc.
A Train's girlfriend was, he said like a D level hero or whatever. So you're right, there are.
Yeah, but
A-Train's
none of them.
girlfriend?
Yeah,
She didn't
Hawk
have
Claw.
superpowers before she put the.
Yes, she did. She was Wolverine.
yeah.
She had Wolverine powers.
Oh, I didn't realize she had that before she put the compound V in her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
The
did.
V just helped. The V just made her feel good. Made her more.
Oh, I
more
didn't
powerful.
realize. I thought the compound
she has
V,
the
she
same-
did that and then she put out her claws because I thought before that she was just an actress.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no,
She was an actress, but she had regenerative abilities as well as bone claws that came out of her wrists instead of through her knuckles.
Yeah, I'm
Which-
curious to see what powers Homelander's son has. And then
It
That,
sound-
didn't
it-
that
it-
remind you of like the kid in Brightburn?
kinda.
Yeah.
Hopefully
It made me
he's not
think a
bad,
lot
though.
about Brightburn.
Hopefully the kid's not bad.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the kid is probably the only one powerful enough to stop Homelander.
Probably.
And so it's going to be a father versus son, ultimately, and it's going to be about trying to convince the son to do what's right, and taking on his father, even though that's scary, and then he's the only one that can do it.
I wonder what's going to happen to Billy because now he knows his wife's not dead, and that was the whole reason that he was on this rampage against supers
Yeah.
or soups.
Yeah. Soups.
So
Dude,
I wanna-
freaking
I wanna know
Butcher
what-
was awesome.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
awesome.
dude, Carl Urban was one of the best parts of the entire show. Him
Carl
and Huey
Urban is the king
together.
of nerds.
I love him. I'm not a huge fan of him in the Judge Dredd movie, but other than that, I love him.
Well, he was great in that, so otherwise.
I've heard.
I think it's just the Judge Dredd movie. I'm just a big fan.
Yeah, but
When
dude,
I watched it, I thought it was going to get more than
dude,
I
he's
got.
in Lord of the Rings. He's in Dread. He's in The Boys. He's in Star
He
Trek.
is?
He's in the Marvel Universe. Yeah,
What is he in Lord of the Rings?
Aomer.
He's,
I don't know
he's
what that means.
He's
the brother.
He's like the
Of
leader
who?
of the Riders of Rohirrim.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not a
that's
Lord of the
what it
Rings
is.
fan, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's like kind of where he got his start in nerddom. Like he's been in so.
I know he's
much.
Bone in Star Trek, and he's awesome.
Yeah, and he's in Thor Ragnarok, and he's,
Yeah, Scourge.
Yeah, he's in so much. Oh, it looks like we lost Sam.
Uh-oh.
Oh, all right,
And
we can
he's
still hear you.
there.
We can still hear you. Anyway, like Carl Urban is just, I just love him, and he's in so many things. I mean, what else was he in? He was in something a long time ago too. Was it Fifth Element? No, I don't think it was Fifth Element, but he's been in so much. At any rate, I need to go because it's like 10 o'clock my time. So let's give our final thoughts. Let's give our 4 out of 5 couch or what 4 out of 5, our out of 5 couch cushions ratings. So let's start with you, Lance.
Yeah.
4 cushions and a throw pillow out of 5
All right.
cushions. Only because how short it was. I wanted more, but that I don't know. Superficial. I guess I would give it a perfect rating.
All right.
I would give it 4 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it. I would probably watch it once more, but I don't know that I would watch it again and again and again because it is very dark. And there's a lot of, oh man, there's so much like political message and anti-religious and anti-establishment messaging going on in there. It's very dark. It's very also timely. So I don't know how well it's going to age. I mean, it may age. It may be like a canary in the coal mine situation, but it is very topical, very political, and it's a heavy message, and it's very dark. So it's kind of hard for me to really get into that and watch it again and again and again. But I would probably watch it one more time, so I'll give it 4.
Okay. I'm with Lance. I'm on the 4 couch cushions and a throw pillow fence there. I loved this show. I don't think I'd give it a perfect score. I can't think of a show that I necessarily would.
Supernatural.
Daredevil maybe, but only like, even then, not all of Daredevil. But
One Piece.
well, and even that, I think Daredevil I still gave a 4.5 out of 5 because I've reviewed Daredevil for Couch Crunchers. So yeah, anyway, I think 4 couch cushions and a throw pillow. I can't put a finger on why. It's just there's something about The Boys that doesn't quite get that perfect rating for me. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for season 2. I think Amazon's really starting to get some good stuff. Like Hannah was really good. The Boys obviously.
Oh,
was
I need
good.
to watch that one.
And Hannah was good. I think 4 out of
Man in
5.
the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle is awesome. I think. I've heard of the Marvelous Miss Maisel's good. I haven't seen that yet, but Jack Ryan, I really liked that, and that second season's coming out.
Ooh,
I think
that
later
got
this
announced
month.
season 2.
I think it's later.
Or the trailer came out.
Yeah, is it later this month, or have they not announced the release date?
I don't remember. The trailer is on couchcrunchers.com with the release date and everything. So go check it out. There's actually everybody go check out couchcrunchers.com because there's a ton of trailers that I posted on there recently.
Yeah.
Rocco's Modern Life. I'm watching that one.
Yeah, and you'll be seeing a
Invaders
Hobbs and
Inn.
Shaw review from me soon.
I might try to go see that tonight.
It was no non-spoiler, quick, review. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But as far as Fast and Furious movies go, I'd put it middle of the pack. Honestly, if I were to put it anywhere, 5, 6, 7, and 8 have all been like the best ones. I think it was worse than all of those, but better than like Fast and Furious 3 and 4 and 2, 3 and 4.
Dude, I love Tokyo Drift. Don't knock on that.
I don't dislike it, but I don't think the first one's really good. 2, 3, and 4 aren't great, and then 5,
2's
6,
the
7,
worst.
8, 2's awful. The
2's
only
the
thing
worst.
2 does is introduce Rome. Like that's the only thing that it really does that's valuable because Rome's so funny. Anyway, Hobbs and Shaw is fun. It's ridiculously over the top, kind of so much so that I'm like, I don't think I want them to keep going more over the top. Maybe let's rein it in a little bit, because it just got a little bit much.
Well, you don't want to see the haka before every battle?
The Haka thing didn't bother me. It was some of the other stuff. Like they did zombie cars in the 8th one, Fast and Furious 8, and that was kind of crazy. But now they literally had like Superman, and not Superman, but like he's a cybernetic hero essentially. But like
He's Black Superman.
Black Superman according to the trailers, yeah. But he's strong and everything, but it's getting a bit much. I still love the movies though, so they're fun. All right. Anyway, Lance is putting up pictures. You sharing your screen there? Is that on purpose?
Yeah, just showing while you were talking, I was just showing a few pictures of the game on.
Well, then I'll click on the screen here and I'll click on your. If it's going to let me. No, it's not going to let. There we
So
go.
I didn't understand the point of this. Nobody was playing Splatoon.
That's Splatoon.
So I don't know what. But
They
no one
weren't-
was playing.
Yeah, they were. They were just off to the side. There was nobody on the stage. That's where the announcers were supposed to be. But they were off to the side playing. And the point of Splatoon is you're trying to cover as much ground in your team's color of ink as possible.
Tell me that's not a badass picture, guys.
It's not. I mean, it is.
It is. That's
Wait, what do you want me to tell you? What is it you want me to tell you?
Sam's a douche.
You literally told him to tell you it's not.
Told me not to tell you that. You told me to tell you that it's not.
He literally did what you said.
Wait, are you a big fan of Outlander? Go back.
No, this is my wife. I said,
Wait, does your wife watch Outlander? My wife has
Oh.
watched Outlander 4 times.
yeah, she's obsessed. And she's gotten the rest of the women in my family obsessed. Like my mother and sisters and stuff. Like, they're all obsessed.
I haven't seen any of
But
it.
it was a pretty good turnout. I'm more excited about Tucson, I think. Tucson's fun, man. Tucson's a fun time.
See, look at all these people just having a great time playing video games.
Video games are awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice little setup.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if Sam was in this picture because he never really left this area.
Yeah, I had a good time watching Smash. I just want to give a plug to anybody who likes to read stories. I have a Facebook page called Stories for Friends where I release a chapter of a story every day. Tomorrow's chapter will be number 54 in a story I like to call The Daughters of Samson. the tension is heating up. So if you want to check it out on Facebook, it's called Stories for Friends.
Sounds good. Thanks
Yeah,
for
check it
plugging
out.
Sam.
I'm following it.
Yeah, I do too.
And check us out on Facebook, Twitter,
Instagram.
anything else you're on, we're there. I don't know. The Twittergram, I don't know. How many different things are there that we're on?
We're on Facebook,
Twitter,
and Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook.
Those are all
Face-
the things
Face to
Instabook.
tweet.
Face
Instabook.
tweet.
Instagram. Anyway. All right. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Hey.
And what's up?
Max, before we go, let's give a plug on probably something we're going to talk about in 2 weeks. To check us out. We're going to talk Hobbs and Shaw. Or Hobbs and Shaw next show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about Hobbs and Shaw. I wanted to talk about it tonight, but y'all are too lazy to go see it. Yeah, so we're going to
You
talk.
cut out there a little bit.
We're going to talk Hobbs and Shaw next time. Absolutely. So you guys go give it a watch.
Awesome.
I might even try to go watch it again because. Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell this story real quick before we end. Lance heard this story already, but so I go to the movies to go see Hobbs and Shaw, right? 8:00 showing, and I get in the theater. There's about 20 minutes of trailers, and I had my seat reserved right in the middle of the row, and I had like no one next to me. I'm like, this is great. It was opening night too. Well, about 10 minutes in, so that means these people were 30 minutes late to the start time of the movie. 10 minutes in, these people come in and sit on either side of me. Okay, whatever, I can see past that. Well, then, the husband and wife who sat on either side of me start looking across me and start talking to each other loudly while the movie's going. And I'm like, what the heck? Then they stop, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's over. Nope. Then there's a baby in the row behind me that someone's handing down because their family's in the back row too. So now there's a baby that they're handing down the aisle. And so now there's a baby sitting right next to me, right? All right. Well, now the baby starts trying to talk to me. And I'm like, all right, you're a cute baby. I'll say hi once. So I said hi. Then the baby's grabbing my drink. The mom's not doing anything. Then the baby's still trying to say hi and play with me. And the mom literally turns her head and like, just looks at me like, are you going to play with my baby? Are you going to play with my baby? I'm like, there's a movie. I paid to watch a movie. And this mom is like trying to get me to play with her baby. And they're still talking and being loud and disruptive. And they're not trying to get their baby to even be quiet. Baby was cute. But it's an 8:00 movie. Your baby should be in bed, dang it. Anyway, and then the final straw, this lady takes her phone out and starts looking at her phone. And at that point, I was just like, screw this, and I walked out of the movie. And I got my money back. But then I went to a 10:00 showing, and it was so late by the time the movie was ending that I fell asleep in the last, 10 minutes. So I missed some of it. Because I was tired.
Oh, man. That's a bummer, dude.
Yeah,
That's horrible. I hate inconsiderate people, man.
Yeah, I know, Lance, that you take your baby to the movies sometimes, but, you are considerate about it. And if your baby's being obnoxious, you guys will get out, and you guys, try to keep the baby quiet. That I'm okay with that. But this was it was one thing after another. Talking over me, handing babies across the aisle, trying to get me to talk to your child, taking your phone out. I'm like, okay, this is too much. I can't sit back.
Well, you know, Max, the last time I had an experience like that at the movie theater, I turned it into a viral movie review.
Oh, yeah?
So maybe you should go on social media and turn it into a viral movie review.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can look it up. Sam Richardson Les Mis review.
Really?
That's me.
All right. I'll have to look into that. For sure. All right. Well, with my complaining about that movie experience, that'll do it for us tonight. Again, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, nerds out.
Cheers.
Turns out.